Today we have with us Christoph Stock.
I got my first computer, a Commodore C64, for Christmas, and this really changed everything. I started the company in a way lighthearted. I was not really expecting much. It looked like an adventure, and what could possibly go wrong? We thought the best place to position ourselves is the area of solving hard IT problems. We always decided to grow organically and grow one by one. We called the company consulting because we thought it sounds cool. We still have a name of being the firefighters for IT projects. As a European and myself, I have to say, I think we could do much more, but we kind of hold ourselves back with a lot of regulations. We have to make sure that AI at the end is helpful or not a traitor and will not wipe us from this planet. I would really love to see TNG thriving and growing and expanding for even long after I have left the company and being home for the most intelligent and nice people on this planet.
Καλώς ήρθες στο podcast «Μάθε το παιχνίδι του χρήματος». Ζούμε σε έναν κόσμο όπου το χρήμα παίζει κυρίαρχο ρόλο, αλλά κανείς δεν μας έχει εξηγήσει τους κανόνες του παιχνιδιού, καθώς η οικονομική παιδεία δεν διδάσκεται στα σχολεία. Γιατί το χρήμα είναι παιχνίδι? Είναι σκοπός ή μέσο? Είναι το χρήμα το πιο σημαντικό πράγμα στη ζωή? Αυτό είναι το σωστό μέρος για σένα που θέλεις να μάθεις πώς να διαχειρίζεσαι σωστά τα χρήματά σου, πώς να αποκτήσεις παθητικά εισοδήματα και πώς να αρχίσεις να χτίζεις όλες τις σωστές συνήθειες που θα σε βοηθήσουν να πετύχεις όλα όσα ονειρεύεσαι. Γιατί το παιχνίδι του χρήματος είναι τελικά το παιχνίδι της ζωής.
Γεια σου, καλώς ήρθες σε ένα ακόμα bonus επεισόδιο του Game of Money Podcast, διεθνές και αυτό, οπότε θα συνεχίσουμε στα αγγλικά. Today we have with us Christoph Stock. He is the co-founder and chairman of TNG Technology Consulting. So, you are from Germany.
Thank you very much.
Okay, it's a pleasure to have you here. And his company is now really big. I think around 1,000 employees.
909 at the moment.
Okay. As Tassos told you, most of them are with doctorates and really important people.
Mm-hmm.
So for people to know you better, tell us a bit about what you studied and how you started your company.
It's a pleasure to do so. I was born in Munich, in Germany, south of Germany, and there were no computers back in the day, so I was...
What year was that?
1970.
Okay.
So I was super fascinated by the upcoming computers. So in 1983 at Christmas, I can just remember like it was yesterday, I got my first computer, a Commodore C64 for Christmas. And this really changed everything because I felt in love with the computer immediately. It was really something I liked. I was always fascinated that I can program and tell the machine what to do, and then the machine did it.
Floppy disks and that.
Even data sette, so on tapes. That was the first thing. But I was talking to my parents as long as I got my diskette device, I think 1 year later. And really I was 13 years old, and I knew in that holiday that this will be an important part of my life.
Okay.
And I will never step up from the computer again. And so I joined the computer club in school. It was just starting back in the day. There was no real computer education. It all was brand new. And I was so happy to have a great teacher in school who was really also fascinated about computers, and he took us little kids and
so he also inspired you.
Absolutely. I started my career with computers in gaming. So I played a lot on the computer. Actually, the first years I wasted in gaming, but my teacher told us how to program computers, and he even motivated us to take part in programming competitions and was always there to support us with our questions, and that was really a very great time. And I started also to program computers, and I'm basically doing this today.
So did you study also something around computers at the university?
No, I was always fascinated about the night sky. Okay. So I actually, at the same Christmas, I also got a book about astronomy. It was really like 1983, the year that my life changed.
I was born in 1983.
Oh, funny. Great to guys know. And so I got a book about astronomy at the same Christmas, and I was also fascinated by that. I was fascinated by the computer, but I understood, wow, there are so many things that is understood and already learned by humans about how the stars and the universe work. And then I decided to go to university to study astrophysics.
Okay.
Which I actually did. But after I got my diploma back in 1999, I joined a consulting company to be an employee for computer science for programming.
During your study, did you also work at the computers field, or
I worked.
not just gaming?
No, I actually had to earn money to support myself during my university time. My parents helped me, but they couldn't afford to pay everything, so I had to work early on. So I started as a cab driver.
Okay.
But only for a few years, because then I realized there was a new planetarium to be open in Munich, one of the modernest planetarium in the world, and I applied for a job there. And they actually hired me as a planetarium operator. So my job was to explain people the sky. So, you know, planetarium is like these indoor places where you can project the night sky and start to explain.
Back then it was progressing. Now they're all around, but back then it was something new.
It was really new and very impressive, and I liked the place. I liked the teaching. I like to be around with people that are interested in the stars, and also like seeing the excitement in the eyes of the people when they understood, wow, is the universe big, and oh, this is only our Milky Way alongside with another like billion other Milky Ways and galaxies. And yeah, this is something that still fascinates me today. And but for my profession, it was clear that I will not be like working for a planetarium of a ranch, but like
So you started as consultant?
Yeah.
Which field? Computer field?
I was actually hired by a consulting company in Munich for doing some support activities and program for clients.
Okay.
It was actually quite hard back in the days because I had my diploma in astrophysics and they were actually looking for computer science people. So I had a bit like convinced them to hire me.
Okay.
Because first they rejected my application and saying, yeah, we're looking for computer science persons, and maybe I did a mistake by applying. I said, no, I want to work in the field, and please invite me for an interview because I have a lot of experience and I'm used to program computers, and so I could convince them during the interview to hire me.
Okay.
And I really learned a lot. In these 2 years, I worked in that company and it was a great time.
Okay, so when did you start your own company?
It was 2001,
Okay.
2 years into being an employee. I met a group of persons that are planning to start an IT consulting company. And I was kind of late to the party. There was a big group of people thinking about, would it not be a great thing to have an own IT consulting company? And I joined them for their meetings and we discussed how this can be done. And it ended up with 12 people starting TNG Technology Consulting back in 2001 with no employees. We were 12 partners.
Okay.
TNG is organized like a classical consulting company, like a partnership. So the partners are the owners of the company. They are fully operational.
Equal shares inside? But
Back then, for sure, yeah. So it's a classical McKinsey model. So the partners own the company and then you work and you...
okay. And just to understand, back then what was happening, 2001, the dot-com bubble, it happened a lot.
It was right in between the dot-com bubble.
Okay.
So all my friends told me, are you crazy starting a business right now in the crisis? And all the tech startups that were like out of business as the bubble burst back in 2001.
That's for our listeners to understand, because most of them are young. Back then, there were little kids are not born.
Yeah.
And because the economy goes around and around, does the same mistakes or good things. So can you explain what was this bubble and what happened back then to the economy, and just when you went in?
Interesting question. Yeah, I mean there were many reasons why the bubble burst. One would be, I would say, like just they were too early in a way, because many of the businesses that actually failed back in 2001 went to work out years later, and there was a huge optimism back in the days. Like, for example, there was a company that wanted to start an online pharmacy. So they say, okay, it's no problem, we do an online pharmacy. And the regulation from the government clearly stated there's no way to send medicine via postal services. But they were just like young and crazy and said, we will change the regulation. And of course, they were not able to change the regulation, so they went out of business because it was not working. Yeah, so they all lived the kind of startup dream with a lot of investments coming in, so they spent all money like crazy. But then, since all the business models really didn't work out, they don't got another round of funding, and so they had to close down, and that was when the bubble burst. And there were a lot of businesses actually that were also a bit crazy. I cannot really remember a single example at the moment, but if you look them up, it was just like a wide time. Everyone
Sometimes you're too early for some areas.
really too crazy or too early, and everyone looked to America because they already have started like this tech startup kind of thing. Like Amazon was still early. I can remember that I bought my first book in like 2000 or so by Amazon.
It's the time before Facebook, before any social media.
Yeah, really, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, and there was no iPhone, and but already
all of today's life was not existing back then.
Yeah, I mean, people didn't have internet at home. It was not a standard. I mean, I had my first internet access at the computer science room and the university much earlier, before I was able to connect with them with audio connections via telephone lines to the internet.
We talk about 3 minutes to download from Napster back then, one song, 2000 something. Okay, so what was your USP, unique selling point for TNG? Why did you start this company?
I started the company in a way lighthearted. I was not really expecting much. It was just like, it looked like an adventure, and what could possibly go wrong? We had no employees, so there was not a lot of risk involved, so we had not to raise money.
Okay. And it's consulting, not have to have hardware and so on.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe a laptop and a telephone.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, but
Not a great risk.
Yeah, not a great risk. And I mean, it was still early, we had no employees, so basically all the 12 partners worked as consultants themselves. Okay. So I started like working as a software tester for a Munich telco company. That was my first project. So I was like more paid like a freelancer kind of case. And so, but there was demand for experts for all kind of things, like typically like software development. And so we thought that the best place to position ourselves is the area of solving hard IT problems. Yeah, so like position ourselves more on the high-end side of things. I mean, IT consulting was already a profession invented back then, so we did not invent the field. Yeah, other companies were already doing it. They were already indie companies that like to leverage their cheaper labor force.
So it was depending on the demand of your client, what you had to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was working as a kind of in client projects during my employment. So there was already like corporations looking for support, and they paid like on the hour. So you had timesheets that you sent in on a monthly basis, and you got paid. And yeah, that's how it all started.
Okay. So you made your living mostly by consultancy, let's say so.
Mm-hmm.
Two questions, Caroline.
Please.
First one, which was the first really big company that trusted you and shifted the perception of we can do it big? And the second, when you have your first employee?
Yeah. That I can really remember how much discussions we had to hire someone, because that actually changed the game, because suddenly you have the responsibility to pay the salary.
It becomes a company.
Yeah, have to become a company in a way, yeah. So we really took this decision lightly. We discussed a lot around how this could happen, and it took of course the involvement of all the founding partners to say, okay, if it's not going to work out, we can somehow make it happen anyhow. And yeah, so we actually hired the first person, and funnily Eric is a partner of our company today, because the classic consulting partnership models, there people are joining the company and then they climb the career ladder, and in the end they can become partners and owners of the company. Yeah? So we hired the first person, I think already 22, after a long discussion. And to really to go into the field of larger IT project, that was really a challenge, because being only 12 people and then maybe 13, 14 people, we got clients, big corporations as a client, but they would not trust us with bigger IT projects because we were just too small.
Okay.
So there's always the question, when something happens during the project, and you need to like send 10 more software developers into the project, will you be able to do it? And if you're like a company only having 20 people, it's not likely.
It's a risk for them.
It's a risk for them, yeah. So we had to start with our growth. So we started to hire people and to kind of build up the way into this segment of the market. And yeah, it may like took really like 10 more years to really be able to do a real big IT project and get the responsibility to do it. Yeah.
So you grew with your own capital?
Always.
Funding?
No funding, never. A single bank credit.
Okay, so step by step it grew bigger.
Yeah, in the service and consulting business, like growing is in a way easy. You hire someone, then after 30 days you have to pay the first salary.
Exactly.
But you also may already issue the first invoice for this person, which is then paid 30 days later. So basically you can afford to grow out of cash flow. So that's what we always did. And we never got crazy in a way. We never thought that like to grow unorganically would be a thing. Like, so think about like buying up a competition, to grow like by acquiring another company, like suddenly double your size from one day to the other. We always decided to grow organically and hire people and grow one by one.
Okay, I agree with this kind of growth, but nowadays everything goes really fast. And most startups want to do something in 18 months, 24 months, just grow rapidly, well, maybe sell themselves or go bigger. So in this, if you did today the same company, would you do the same thing, or maybe would you go another way? Because we'll go to AI later.
Yeah.
Because Riley says it, but if you ever thought of this, what would you do?
I would do it the same way, because it is so much freedom for an entrepreneur not to have financial investors. They have always their own opinion. They want to be involved in the business. There's so much report going on. So I always felt it to be a blessing to not have to raise external capital. Of course, you can always argue you're not optimizing for growth as it could be, but I'm more on the conservative side of things, so I would either grow risk-free and like to control every step instead of like taking all the opportunities that are there and go into risk. So it's something that I think we even do today.
Okay, it's also strategic if you want to go the long way or the fast way. You do the long way.
I mean, it is a different business. If you're going to do a startup today, you most likely would be in the product business, and not in the service business. So what I'm saying here applies for service companies. So it is a different beast. Yeah, I mean, as a product company, you may have to reach certain milestones that have to be early in the market to try to prove that your idea is working. You may have to avoid competition shows up.
Before the Chinese copy you, for the Indians.
Yeah, I mean, there's, especially now with the rise of AI, it's really a hefty competition around software as a service companies, and products are kind of copyable. So being quick is always a good thing. When there's some advantage of being the second, because sometimes examples where the second startup wins the race because they can learn from the mistakes the first startup has done.
First on base, you learn.
But apart from being first or being second, I think there's no value of trying to be third or fourth. So then suddenly it's already crowded in the market, and even as a startup, it's always like a risky endeavor. You never know whether your idea will be accepted by the market, and and as soon as it's accepted, then it's maybe hard for the next startup to copy you, because then you have already your customers at it. As a startup, as you have having the first clients, you learn a lot about your market because they give the feedback. And that was always also true for us, because we always listened carefully to what our clients told us and what they especially liked about TNG, and what they may not like so much. And we tried to improve our services, and exactly it was very helpful to have clients early on.
Exactly. So you mentioned AI, and because you also do implementation, not only consultancy in your TNG, you do implementation. So again, two questions. First, how much AI do you use, and what does it mean for people working in your company? Second, is AI a competitor for you?
Yeah. Even we called the company consulting because we thought it sounds cool. In a way, we earn our money by contract software development. So companies paying us to create software for them or modify existing software. That is the core of our business. So we basically have three pillars. That is like agile software development. So we kind of provide teams, not single individuals anymore, that are helping clients to create new products, typically scalable cloud platforms. But we also help clients to turn around failed IT projects. So in the world of bespoken software, and there's always also the problem, what do you do when your software is not working anymore? Because maybe the last release was broken or something, or the provider and partner of your software goes out of the market. Maybe then suddenly you are faced with a situation, who helps us now? So we kind of saw this opportunity years ago, and we still have a name of being the fighters for IT projects, and we have a lot of experience in turning around failed IT projects. And we are doing DevOps and cloud, which is all the world of putting software into the hyperscalers like AWS and Azure. And since like 6 years, we are also doing AI as a pillar. So like before the Gen AI disruption started in November 22. And if I look at my company today, how it affects, how it's impacted by AI, it's really fantastic to see that it really impacts us on all levels. So first of all, every software developer at TNG is not writing software alone, but has an AI at the side. So
With his own agent or TNG
his own agent, yes, and helps him her to write software.
So it's more productive per hour.
Exactly. So we have more efficiency per software developer. We can create more software in the same amount of time.
It is important to be there. The AI cannot do it alone. You need the developer to take from the AI.
That's really the way how we see it at the moment. So there's, if you look into this kind of development, there's typically two streams at the moment. Like there's something you call vibe coding, which is people that go to an LLM, large language model, and they create a prompt like, please write me a software that does the following things. But then the AI goes back and thinks and like comes back with a software.
Yeah.
And then you may use the software. This is something that is not yet on the quality that we would need to use it in our client project, because we as a company have to provide certain quality gates.
Was it not be solid?
Yeah, and we are also liable for what we are doing. So if you put our software into production for our clients and it goes completely wrong, everyone would ask us, what are you doing? And if you said, yeah, we write coded the software and never looked at the software that the AI wrote, and we just prompt and prayed, so to say, yeah. So that is something we actually use white coding for prototypes and like to play around with ideas. And of course, that is a great thing, but it's not yet on the level to say, okay, this can be put into production without further.
Will it go to a level sometime, do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, if you look like Gen AI, which is facilitating all that, we are going to celebrate 3 years of Gen AI in November this year, and it's unbelievable
Like
how
50
far it already
Yes.
went. Like the latest foundation models from OpenAI or XAI and others, they reached like PhD level in all science fields. So
But you also train your own models, the AI,
we
Germany?
training your own models is really a very difficult thing because it requires a lot of investment into hardware. And this is really something we're not doing. We developed our own methodology to create large language models, which we call assembly of experts. It's more like creating LLMs out of open source, open weight models. And it's not like the classical training thing. Yeah? But no, we use commercial models and we also use open source models because we are in the business of providing cooperation with services. We also need to ask our clients, are we allowed to use AI services? And there's a big...
For the contract, you have to sign it.
Exactly. So we have to specify what's allowed, what's not allowed. And actually most of our clients have problems using the commercial commercial AI solutions. Because if you use Copilot or GPT,
The data will go up.
the data
Because
goes
of
for that.
credentials sometimes.
Exactly. So and then it's used for data, for training, and you set them the data, and that is a no-go for many of our clients. So we decided early last year to invest into our own GPU infrastructure to be able to run open source models in our own, under our control.
Safe environment.
And so we can use AI services even for clients that don't allow us to use commercial models.
Okay.
So,
And also nowadays, to the last years, cybersecurity is also a very important issue.
yes.
affects you a lot, I think.
Absolutely. So for us, it's mostly around the question on how to write secure software. So we do a lot in that area. Training the software developers, for example, is an important thing. So being aware of how good software architecture also is, secure software architecture. We do something that's called threat modeling, which is like a card game. Maybe sounds funny, but people, the software development team from time to time plays a card game. And the card game is around questions to the software, helping you to identify potential security problems in your source code.
And what about quantum threats? Quantum computing in general, does it scare you or is it a threat for you?
A quantum computer is there's this joke.
It's also expensive.
Yeah, a quantum computer there's a joke, it's always 10 years in the future, and it was like 10 years in the future 5 years ago, and it may will be 10 years in the future like 5 years from now. It's hard to say. When there's a lot of money and research flowing into quantum computers, and there are already actually real quantum computers now available, but they have not reached the capacity to be really a thing for like actual projects. They're more the concern of research at the moment. But
Sometime it will be.
yeah, for sure.
When you started computers, it was these big things in the room.
Yeah.
Now we have the iPhones, so it will happen sometime. So, regarding AI, just to close this window, are you optimistic or pessimistic about Gen AI? For humanity?
I'm super optimistic about this. The future will be absolutely bright. Intelligence is something that helped us humans to reach the level that we have reached today. And with superior intelligence, we cannot even imagine now what will happen. Like all the new scientific breakthroughs made a completely new ways to think how to deal problems like climate change and longevity, and if we have robots running around doing the work, we can like imagine a future where humans can like not being able to, there's no need to work because the robots may provide us with goods and food and houses and all that. I mean, I don't want to sound too science fiction now, yeah? So maybe this is a future in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, but I think this will be really great, especially if you think about the idea of trapping to the stars, and robots will may be the ones that we send out first, that prepare like and build a moon station or a city on Mars, then human can go there and occupy those places. So I'm personally very convinced it's beautiful.
But on the same time, it's the right moment now, we can go there, but we live in an era that global economy is not at its best.
Yes.
Geopolitics also are a little crazy right now. And because we are in Europe, Europe is at the Nordics. What's your opinion about European economy right now? Germany is also a bit in trouble. As we hear now from the news, we don't know exactly what's happening over there.
Meant to start with Germany. Germany has huge challenges. We just entered the third year of recession in Germany, which is a really unheard thing of. Main industry like automotive industry suddenly is under pressure. Like great cars coming from China and from America, they are all electric. Autonomous driving is a thing. So in a way, all the German car manufacturers are struggling to keep up with this new world. So it's a huge disruption happening there. And energy prices are high. So it is really challenging. And then, of course, we have the Ukraine war going on. That is kind of next door, and it's not yet sorted out. And it's always something that is challenging.
In terms of the sense of security, because in Europe, for the last months, you do not feel really secure. A friend of mine was flying to Germany a few weeks ago for a big expo. And they canceled the flight because there were drones around some airport.
Yeah.
Things we could not believe that we would live in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like a huge disruption on how war and warfare is done. It's not like the fighter jets and the tanks anymore. It's like intelligent systems, about information. It's about AI. It's about drones. It's really a crazy shift for everyone. And yeah, especially Europe. I mean, if we compare ourselves with China and the US, of course, I mean, US is inventing like crazy. They are leading the AI revolution. There is no doubt about it. They're spending a lot of money in these startups like OpenAI, XAI. They're all doing great. Everyone is like creating data centers like crazy. Hundreds of billions of US dollars are invested into data centers, AI data centers to be precise, and they're really driving the innovation and secure in a way a leadership position in this new and very important technology area. On the other hand side, you have China, who kind of stepped up to be the world #1 producer of things. And for years, there were a lot of cooperations between European companies with China, and we like to produce things cheap in China and sell it back to the developed markets. But now China is really
So we learn how to do it.
exactly. So they are now creating cars, absolutely amazing cars, super quality in the production, and they are now more a competition than like a supplier. So, and yeah, Europe is currently struggling to answer your question.
It's old and tired, Europe.
Yeah, it is
Hyper-regulated for sure.
I mean, as a European, I myself, I have to say, I think we could do much more, but we kind of hold ourselves back with a lot of regulations. Europe is leading the world in one thing, it's regulation. And it's something that when I speak to my American friends, they always tell me, why you're not innovating and inventing, why you try to regulate, and now, for example, the EU AI Act is set in place since 2nd of August this year, and it already affects our company in a way, in a negative way. I'm wholeheartedly think that, of course, AI is a technology meant to serve humanity, and we have to put in guardrails, and of course, our human values are important, and we have to make sure that AI at the end is helpful or not a traitor, and will not like wipe us from this planet. But at the moment we are in the exploration phase, and how can you regulate something without knowing how the market will develop? So at the moment, if you are a startup and a startup founder and you want to explore the possibilities in AI with a new startup, it's more likely that you move to the US, because there you are not that much regulated and there's more innovation and you can try out things. So when it's always like the difference between the European and American market, the Americans always try to regulate not to regulate much, but let people more freedom. And if somebody misuses this freedom, then you have these court acts with the kind of hundreds of millions and even billions in fees that somebody has to pay. We in Europe, we try to prevent evil things from happening. Yes, and I see the value in this, but if we go down to like innovation and like, I think Europe would be better off in creating a innovative, friendly environment, and even invest money into it, and create a startup scene, and we should try to not lose all our talent to the US, and may even use the current geopolitical situation, and especially the situation in the US that is not very much liked by everyone in the US, to like attract talent back to Europe, because we we have a huge standard of living, a very safe environment, and so there are opportunities that we are currently not really leveraging. That's the thing. And there was an open letter written to the European Parliament to pause the EU AI Act because of all these reasons. And there were really famous tech entrepreneurs and startups that signed this open letter. And I was not asked, but I would have signed it as well. And I was really sad seeing that it took the European Parliament exactly 1 day to write back, no, we won't change anything. And this is, they should have at least like invited the people, have an open discussion around it, try to better understand their thinking, why they come up and say, maybe pause the EU AI Act because it's starting to hinder us in our growth, in our possibility to compete with American companies. And so it's a missed opportunity.
Could TNG stand in the US market? You took it and went there?
We're going to find out soon, because we started our subsidiary in the US just a few months ago. It is really interesting to see. TNG really grew every year. So we started with 12, now we are 909 people. So we all constantly grew over all the years. Maybe since 2008, like with 20% per year around.
Okay.
And then the pandemic, then COVID hit. And in early 2020, we declared ourselves to be a fully remote-only company to protect our people from the illness. We said, okay, we won't go to clients anymore. We are staying at home.
But till that time, all of them worked in Germany with you, the headquarters.
Even in Munich. Until the pandemic, we were a Munich-based company with Munich-based clients. We had a few exceptions with clients around ourselves, not in Munich, but in the area. But typically, we had to go to our office to work, or we had to go to the office of the client to work. And we were 450 people early 2020, and then the pandemic showed up, and we went fully remote. And the next thing happened, people started to relocate away from Munich, within Germany. And then some lady approached us. She said, yes, now when I can work remotely, I want to go back to Hungary, because she was an Hungarian lady. And she asked us, would it be possible to stay working with TNG while moving to Hungary? And of course, it's a bit a complicated thing, because you need to have at some point you have to pay taxes then in Hungary if you have people there. So we have to look into how this can be done. So we started to opening offices in other countries.
Okay.
And so we have now offices suddenly around the globe. Most remote is in Australia and Melbourne, where we have 9 TNG consultants.
And got the clients there.
We started to get clients there. Okay. But since IT project can be perfectly done remotely, also the Australian colleagues can also help, like support our German clients it's a bit of a topic with the time zones, but
So pandemic forced you to expand.
yeah, again, it was really not really on purpose, but more a lucky catch and something that happened organically. And we took a few strategic decisions in this area. So, for example, to opening up Switzerland and UK was a strategic decision to have a foothold outside of the European Union. And now to open our headquarters in Austin, Texas was also strategic because we thought, okay, America is the standard for AI and startups, and they have a huge market for IT consulting. It goes into the hundreds of billions. So we thought, okay, maybe this is also something we have to look up. We had American clients before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always a bit of a hassle for us to accept American contracts because of liability topics and all that. So we are very happy now to switch all of our clients to our American subsidiary and are trying to attract new clients. And we just opening the Austin a few months ago, and we already acquired a new client. We are already in discussions with 2 more clients. So there is some value for us. And Germany has a very good reputation still for engineering and quality, and this helps us really, believe it or not, even for IP consulting. I tell the American companies like TNG is bringing German engineering into software development.
Because the national brand is very good.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing, yeah.
Everyone is a bit confused what's happening with Europe and Germany at the moment, but still there is still reputation is still there.
So what's the vision for the next years? Because you're expanding a lot, as I see. Your vision.
Yeah, the most important part in TNG was always to hire the right persons. We always thought that to be able to help clients in their most complex IT problems would be to hire the smartest people available. And in a way we did. We even won the prize a few years ago to be the smartest company of Germany out of all companies. So yeah. And how did we do it? So basically everyone working for TNG holds a university degree, and over 50% of our people hold a PhD. So it's like 900 plus PhDs in our company. So very smart people. And now with the rise of smart AI, it's a great combination. Smart people with smart AI. How can it be better like that?
Most of the question is, you are in a good level. The company is doing good, it's productive. Money-wise, I suppose it's running well. What's your motive for expanding more? Why more?
When I look at the company, I'm so blessed that I had the possibility to co-found the company, because if I now look around our people that we employ, it's absolutely fantastic humans. When TNG is like the next generation, but it's also the nerd group. So we really like people that love technology and are maybe a bit crazy in a way, like from a normal perspective, because they go to university and study math and physics and computer science or chemistry. But we like these people. Yeah? They are very scientific orientated. They have this root cause thinking, first principle thinking. And we train them to become software developers and get a good life out of their own work. And yeah, my vision for TNG is like an immortality project in a way. I would really love to see TNG thriving and growing and expanding for like even long after I have left the company. And being home for the most intelligent and nice people on this planet, and being known more and more in the world of the company, to be trusted as the company with that can solve the most complex problems, and even like thinking further, like complex problems of humanity, because in the moment we are more like solving business problems, but we would be in the position to do more. It's always the question how to develop in that direction. So yeah, that's.
I respect this vision.
Thank you.
It's very, very important. So one question I always ask to the people who come here, what's money for you? It's the game of money here.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, it's an idea to start with. So I'm always fascinated that I just can enter a restaurant and get super good food. I'm super impressed by the Greek food, by the way. I had so pleasant experiences already in this few days here that you really know how to live life. Absolutely. And yeah, the people are working hard there to create a tremendous experience for yourself, and at the end you just give them some printed papers. So that always fascinated me. So for me, money is also like security. I never thought much about like investing in a sense. I more always like to invest in myself, like into experiences, like to see places, go to conferences, maybe learn a new skill. And I think it was like 2015, we have also a great tech conference, the big tech day that happens yearly.
Yes.
And people asked me to give a talk about Bitcoin, and I looked into that field and was really fascinated by the idea, by the maths behind it, and it really changed also my view on money, because the inflation and the possibility to print money and going into debt is also something. If you look in our current economy, you see like we are basically kind of totally united by all the debt we have. Like look at US, Europe, China, Russia, everyone is huge in debt. So it's like, in a way it looks and feels crazy. And
So you believe in the idea of Bitcoin?
I believe in the idea. I like the idea because it is really dissolved the double spending problem. So there is the possibility to exchange something between persons without being the need of a middleman. And I'm also believing a lot in freedom. So peer-to-peer networking or open source software is something that even our company takes really to heart. We created open source projects ourselves. We are supporting open source projects. So the idea of having a community-driven thing, which is not necessarily associated with money, but more with helping each other, I think Bitcoin has a place in that area. I'm quite surprised about the latest development because it was always like a crazy idea, but suddenly it seems these days that more and more government, investment companies are taking it seriously. So I think that it could be something. So
And also, I think Bitcoin learned the governments and the banks what's blockchain, because they have to implement the blockchain, which is very important and very useful. Bitcoin was the start of blockchain implementation.
Yeah, I would really separate both things. Bitcoin, of course, is like lives on a blockchain, but the blockchain as a technology is also something. It's maybe not really to see easily where the applications of blockchain really is required. I mean, you can always use it in a way like a database, but many of the use cases I see could also be done with a database. It made it sounds more modern or mature if you say blockchain, but in a way, like Bitcoin is much more successful as an idea for digital money, if you want to say it like that, than like the underlying technologies. We rarely have projects involving blockchains, for example.
Okay. So it was interesting. Yeah, I thought you would have.
It is disruptive in a way because as soon as you put a solution on blockchain, you lose the middleman. But we have huge industries built around the idea of middlemen. Okay. And it's hard to develop those industries, and there is also legal concerns, and so it's the time will tell. But I think, given the fact that is now the whole idea is now like 15 years old, I'm surprised that like the blockchain idea has not yet really changed the world, but Bitcoin in a way has.
Exactly. So one last question. What advice would you give to some young people listening to this podcast for the future? What soft or hard skills should they learn? What values should they have?
I would say it's a crazy good time to start a business because of AI. It is absolutely fascinating to see that making startups that are now 5-year-old, so founded pre-Gen AI, so to say, are already disrupted by the next generation of startup being AI native. So basically everyone is under pressure now. So if you are young, I would say learn AI, become familiar with
As we
AI.
played games back then, just play with AI now.
Yes, exactly. And the internet is full of free resources, and you can have free access to AI. You can pay like $20 per month for an OpenAI Plus account, for example, and then you have the full world of possibilities is at your hand. And since it's new for everyone, there's no big problem that you are young. Maybe you are even
It's even better.
maybe it's even better because you don't have like old limiting beliefs that you have to get rid of, but you start up with a fresh view on things. So a personal advice, when I look back in founding TNG, I would always say also having a founding team is an important success factor. I mean, you will always have like difficult discussions among your peers, but it's
Exchange of ideas.
but it's always so great to have the trust to a founding team, because if you're not there, maybe they are there. So it is like synergy. So 1 + 1 is more than 2 in that regard. So I would always tell young people to look out for co-founders, use AI, and have fun, and life is good. And there are also like a venture capitalist hackathons. So the whole ecosystem has pretty much developed. Like if I look back in 2001, startups was not a big of a thing, and in a way we could be named a startup back in the days, but we did not really see ourselves as a startup in the sense that you see startups today. So yeah, the world is great, and see what others are doing, and don't be afraid, and try to be at the forefront of AI, because that's a challenge for everyone. And yeah, you have your whole life ahead of you, and I can pretty much tell you, even if may Bitcoin go away, AI will not.
Exactly. It was a pleasure, Christoph. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Looking forward to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Και εσείς που ακούτε, εφόσον πήρατε αξία, μοιραστείτε το όπου θέλετε. Τα λέμε το επόμενη Τετάρτη.